What's up, guys? So I wanted to make this video because a lot of people ask me what is my main phone that I use. Now I typically use about like two phones at a time. It's usually one of these, and then it's an older flagship phone like a Note or my LG V60, depending on what I'll be doing for that day. And I wanted to go over this. So we got the Pixel 6 Pro, and these are some of the most popular flagship phones. Then we got the iPhone 13 Pro here as well. And then we also have the S22 Ultra here. These are, pretty popular flagship phones here in the USA. All right, so I want to talk about my experience because I currently switch between these three phones. I've used them all as my main phone. I want to talk about the pros and cons of each of these phones if you are interested in buying these three phones. I want to talk about what I like about each of them and what I don't like so much. Alright guys, I want to start off with the design. So I want to talk about my favorite design out of the bunch is still going to be the S22 Ultra here. I think it just looks better than the Pixel and the iPhone here, especially if we are accounting for the front of the phone. I love the curved displays on here. A lot of people do not. I love curved displays. I think the back of the phone is really nice. It's really clean. A lot of people don't like that Samsung got rid of the kind of bump thing, which I like the S21 Ultra's design as well too. But I think this looks really clean, and I just love looking at this phone here as well. I think the built-in stylus is also just a really nice feature to have. It just makes you feel, and anybody who uses a Note, it really does make you feel like kind of fancy, or just you feel important or something. It's really weird, but it's really nice for jotting down notes and stuff like that. And like I said, the screen design on the S22 Ultra is really nice as well. And then the iPhone, I do like this design, but I don't like that Apple went with like these really harsh edges. So it's not like the iPhone like 10R or the 11. It just doesn't feel as comfortable as the older iPhones, but I think the back of this phone is absolutely beautiful. It just looks great. It has a very premium sort of luxury feel to it as well. And I like the weight of this phone as well too, and the size of this phone especially. And that's one of the most important things here. I've been loving the size of this phone because of the battery life and the size. It's really hard to get this type of battery life in this type of size phone. But the Pixel, I think, still has one of the most unique designs out of the bunch. You cannot mistake this for any other phone. Like, you will see the camera bar and you will know that this is a Pixel. I love that Google did that because in the past, Google has had some very designs that I did not care for at all, actually. I think this is their best looking phone that they've put out. And I absolutely think they're in a step in the right direction. If you guys have seen the Pixel 7 Pro, it looks even better than this as well too. But yeah, the Pixel 6 Pro, it looks good and it has a very unique design as well. So design wise, I do think the S22 Ultra looks the best, and I personally think it's the most comfortable out of the bunch. Now, as far as speed on all of these phones have been really fast. As you can see, as far as benchmarks, it's really no competition. The iPhone is just ridiculously fast when it comes especially to benchmarks. Now, as far as opening applications in real life scenarios where you're throwing a lot at these phones, they all still pretty maintain great performance here. The Pixel, it really does feel smooth. I think, honestly, I feel like it's smoother than the S22 Ultra and the iPhone. It has like this buttery sort of smooth to it. It could be the way Google's doing the transitions and stuff like that, but I really like this phone. The stock Android experience, it does feel extremely smooth. iOS has always felt really smooth as well too, but it's just something about the Pixel that it just feels like extra smooth for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, I just love stock Android, how clean it is, just how it feels. Samsung One UI is also very smooth as well too. With One UI though, the thing that I'm starting to really like about this is that there's so much customization. Like, I made a video about the good lock customization that you can do in all the features. They just have so much in One UI that you can take advantage of, and also they do it in a very clean way. Everything is very clean in One UI as well too. But like I said, they all are pretty smooth. They are very fast. Now the iPhone, like I said, it's able to play PUBG at 90 frames. The S22 Ultra, the Pixel can't. But yeah, so I just really like performance on here. You guys can see that if I just open up Let's try YouTube. They feel about the same, so don't let the benchmarks fool you. The iPhone is gonna be like slightly faster, but it's not like it's ridiculously faster. So you do the same thing on the Pixel. You guys can see it's very close, and like I said, in terms of like launching video games and stuff like that, maybe we'll see like a bigger difference there. Yeah, you see they're like pretty much on par. So that's why I said when I transition between these phones, I don't notice that the iPhone has much faster performance. Now, of course, like I said, when you run those Geekbench scores, yeah, and also the gaming experience on all of these phones is pretty good. I have gaming tests on all of these phones. Yeah, I just like the gaming experience because the screen on the S22 Ultra, it just looks better to me. I think it's one of the best displays you can get right now. Super bright outdoors too. The iPhone, it's just, the screen is great, but it's just got this notch, which I believe Apple is doing away with this year with the iPhone 14. So it's actually my least favorite screen here. Like I said, I like using the phone, but I just think the notch, it looks extremely outdated compared to the S22 Ultra and the Pixel here. Both 1440p, they're both LTPO, 120 hertz. All of these are 120 hertz displays, and they all look really good. But as far as like content watching and stuff, I think the S22 Ultra and the Pixel 6 Pro, I think it has the iPhone beat in terms of like the screen watching. It just looks more immersive. You guys can see even when you're playing games, basically anything you do on the S22 Ultra and the Pixel 6 Pro, it just looks better than the iPhone, in my opinion here. So that's also one thing I noticed. So when I switched back to the iPhone, watching videos and stuff, it doesn't give you that immersive experience. It's one thing that I definitely felt. Now, you guys know I'm big on speakers, so let's go ahead and talk about the speakers. We'll do max volume on the Pixel first. So one of my big complaints about the S22 Ultra is the speakers this year were really not that good compared to what Samsung has done in the past with its flagship. The speaker order is still the Pixel 6 Pro, still has one of the best speakers, just great bass quality. It's just tuned really well. Google has actually always been really good with their speaker quality. Then the iPhone 13 Pro, very balanced, great bass. And the S22 Ultra, compared to these, it's just very low as far as bass quality. It's just not as loud as these two phones. So definitely, hopefully Samsung improves on the speaker. It's not like Samsung is putting out bad speakers, because the S21 Ultra didn't sound like this. And just to make sure it wasn't me, like I watched a ton of videos on the S22 Ultra, and everybody else says the speakers they're good, but they're not as loud. So it just pretty much confirms it for me. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cameras for a second. So I've watched a ton of videos on all of these phones. Me personally, I still think the Pixel is my favorite camera as far as just image quality and skin tones. Definitely as far as like the selfies go. I really do like the Pixel's image quality and how they do it on here. It just looks really nice to me. All these cameras actually do a great job in low light, but the thing about the Pixel is that it actually has the worst video out of these phones. So that's one thing that I definitely noticed. It's still my favorite go-to camera for if I'm going out and I want to take like pictures. It just gets skin tones correct. It just has this really sharp and nice image processing. I absolutely love it. My next favorite camera is definitely the S22 Ultra. I feel like this still has the best camera system. I've said this a lot. For anybody that it's just got a ton of versatility, right? So this phone takes excellent zoom shots. It's actually pretty amazing. It's able to take 10 times zoom photos that look super crispy, 30 times zoom photos that still look great. It's even able to go up to 100 times zoom. Now those shots aren't really usable, but it's just very cool that it can reach that far. The ultra wide is great. The video is solid. I definitely prefer the video on the S22 Ultra actually than the iPhone, which probably surprised you. But image quality is just really nice on this phone. It has a very good camera setup. So if you're like at sporting events and stuff like that, being able to zoom in shots and still get a crispy, nice photo is great. I've seen a lot of videos about the iPhone 13 Pro's camera. You know, when they do the whole iPhone versus Android thing. And yes, I do think the iPhone 13 Pro is a more consistent camera, especially if you're uploading stuff to social media and stuff like that. Like Instagram, those apps work better. I believe Snapchat and all that stuff like that. I'm not really big on social media like that, but I do understand where people are coming from. And this phone takes really fast shots as well too. Like the software on here is really great as compared to these two phones. It's just not as quick. Video is also really great on here as well too. It's a very consistent shooter. It's still one of the best cameras out there. I just don't like how the iPhone does skin tones, and it doesn't have like that zooming capability as well too. And also it does not have like a very high megapixel cameras on here as well, like the S22 Ultra and the Pixel. So if you blow iPhone photos up on a computer and you zoom in, you'll see that you lose a lot of the detail. It starts to look a little bit blurry. But like I said, 108 megapixels. You blow this up on a computer, you start zooming in, it still looks great. So that's one of the things I like about the S22 Ultra and the Pixel. Now, here's the part where the iPhone really shines. So this phone has amazing battery life, especially for the size. This isn't even the big version. There's a Pro Max version, which I really like the size of this one. That's why I never get the Max versions. But man, is this really, really awesome. I'm talking about excellent screen on time. Easily can do 8 hours of screen on time. Easy. Even if you're throwing really harsh stuff at it, it's still able to give you great battery life. It beats the S22 Ultra and the Pixel 6 Pro by a lot. These phones are typically able to do around 6 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time. Some videos I've seen, if you're just doing stuff, some videos I've seen S22 Ultra only get about 4 hours, 30 minutes, 5 hours if you're doing really harsh activities like doing a lot of recording, just stuff that's going to push the processor. So that's definitely one thing that I noticed. Like if you really push these two phones, you won't get anywhere near as good battery life. So that's definitely one thing that I do like about the iPhone this year. It's just excellent battery life, and I can only see Apple getting better from here. So I'm really curious on how is, you know, Samsung, Google, all Android manufacturers, how are they going to sort of beat Apple in this you know, category of battery life. But like I said, all these phones, they have all the bells and whistles, wireless charging. These two phones have reverse wireless charging. Like I said, IP rating, all have NFC. They're excellent phones. I would say still my favorite out of the bunch is still the S22 Ultra. I think it packs a lot for the price, even though it's very expensive at $1,200. The Pixel 6 Pro has come down in price a lot too. You can find one for around like $800, $700 new. The iPhone, you know, is still going to be expensive. It's going to cost you about $1,000 bucks. But yeah, I really like enjoying using all of these three flagships since I've gotten them, guys. They all have their little pros and cons, but you know, it just narrows down to, you know, what you want out of your smartphone. So be sure to let me know which one would you guys pick up, and I will catch you guys in the next one.